Have you ever described your job as soul-sucking? This has been coming up a lot for me lately, and people that I'm talking to on the phone and clients and at a party. I actually recently went to a party, and I used to work in advertising, and so there was many people that were there that still work in advertising and some people that I hadn't met, and so I was introduced and the host was like, oh, and she no longer works in the industry. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Thank God you got out. I mean, all these people that work in the industry were saying, thank God you got out, as if it was prison. The one thing that I really noticed though is they didn't ask me what I was doing now. Like, they really almost physically turned away from me. It was really remarkable. I noticed that more than anything, more than them using the word soul sucking to describe their job, was that once they had found out that I was no longer their brethren, they were like, no more of you. And I was like, all right, noted, no big deal. Because I remember me then too, and all I wanted was to desperately figure out how not to be doing it anymore, but posing a solution to me was also nothing I could hear. So if you have ever described your job now or in the history of your life as soul-sucking, I've got a question that I want to ask you, or a question that I want you to ask yourself. And the question is, how have I asked for this? In what way have I actually asked for this to be my current situation? And I understand a knee-jerk reaction to go, well, how would I ask for bad behavior or toxic masculinity or discrimination, inequality? How would I ask for something like this? But in any way, shape, or form, whatever we have is something we have asked for. Our thoughts create our reality. Our beliefs create our thoughts. So what we're doing is we're believing something about the world and the way that we exist in it, and that is what's manifesting in our reality. And taking it a step further is when we're not being intentional or having any awareness about what we're doing, we end up in someone else's plan, which is often when we go, oh, this is so soul-sucking. Oh, this isn't giving me anything. I'm not making any impact. I don't feel like I'm offering anything to the world. Woe is me, I'm never gonna figure out what I want. But let's just isolate this one thing of describing our jobs as soul-sucking. Is how is that serving you? Because it is. Otherwise, you would leave. Otherwise, that pain would be so strong that you'd be like, I have to go soul-sucking, you guys? I mean, I'm not in the clear on this one. I've said it. I have said it before. I look back and I go, ooh, was it? Or was that a bit dramatic? But I also, one time a coach asked me, what about this do you want? Right? I had a boss that was a micromanager and a bit overwhelming, and I was complaining for the umpteenth time about it. And this friend of mine was like, how have you asked for this? I know you don't want to hear it, and I know you don't even want the answer to that, but it's going to serve you. How have you asked for this particular situation? How does this feed you? And I sat with it. I did the work, I sat with it, and I knew exactly what this boss was doing for me. It was keeping me small. It was keeping me in this loop of I need. It was keeping me in a loop of complaining. It was a distraction because I would very easily complain about that boss rather than do something about my current situation. That person became sort of a parent, and in my parent relationships, I was very needy. So it was like fulfilling all of these roles for me, and it was really unraveling something. And I'll tell you, the minute the light turned on was the minute that I started to get to work on figuring out how to do something else. So you just gotta ask, how is what I am perceiving as a situation that I do not love? And this could be your job, this could be a relationship, a friendship, a relationship with food. How is this actually, how am I getting exactly what I'm asking for? How am I getting exactly what I'm asking for? If you think about it, why don't we ask a better question of ourselves? Why don't we ask for something else for ourselves? Tony Robbins said this story, and I've heard it a few other times, or said this line, is life will pay any price that you ask of it. Life will pay any price that you ask of it. So if I'm not asking for much, I'm not getting much. If I'm not asking for something that's lifting my soul up, raising it up and lighting it up, then I may as well be asking for soul sucking. Think about it. Think about it. How is it serving you? And then when we become more intentional and aware of maybe it's serving a deeper, darker side of me, maybe we can then become aware of how we can move that up the scale of emotions into something that's more soul uplifting rather than soul sucking. What a great morning conversation. All right, guys, now go forth and ask yourself these deep questions so you can get the deepest of answers and you can move on with your life up the scale of emotions and live in greatness.